Hello. So sorry about that. My apologies.
Oh, you're fine.
Yeah, I've been trying to get I was working with an accountant to do my taxes, and like I literally hadn't heard from the guy for 3 months, and just like I don't know why the office isn't even open most days of the week, but they are today. Either way, it doesn't matter. I don't want to take up more time.
Hmm.
So, obviously, this is the first time we're meeting. Typically, I like to sort of get a sense of, who I'm working with and sort of like why you're working on this stuff. I mean, clearly you're in a class,
Yeah.
but more so like why specifically are you taking this class and sort of like what are you looking to get out of it or things that I like to hear.
Uh, yeah. I'm doing a 4-year university. This is my
Mhm.
last year of, hopefully my last year. I have a lot of um courses from previous years.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's an university overseas.
Okay.
So that might be a little bit why that's probably a little bit why it's so difficult and the writing is so weird because it's
Mm.
translated word from the original language into English. If you notice
Okay.
that or not.
I see. I see. Well, I don't know. I mean, those like little typos and stuff. It's not like a big concern or anything, but yeah. Okay. That's
Mhm.
interesting.
And yeah, this class specifically has 3 assignments. The first assignment I already did.
Hmm.
This is the second one, and the last assignment is optional. But if I do compute it, I get
Yeah.
a 100 in the class
Oh yeah. All right. Cool.
instead of just a C or the grade I would get at the final exam. So if I do the
Mm.
final lab, I don't have to take the exam. It will just be replaced with a 100
Oh yeah,
from
that's
the.
pretty nice. I like when instructors do that.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, I did similar things for my students when I was teaching. Um, I haven't
Hmm.
taught in a few years, but I've been teaching and tutoring for like 15 or more years, basically, ever since I was in undergrad. But
Oh wow.
yeah, yeah. But now I'm almost 35, so
Mm.
yikes. All right. So yeah, maybe I can tell you a little bit about myself. So I've had a
Sure.
pretty interesting journey through software development and whatnot. So I started off as a mathematician. I basically was, doing some research mathematics. I have some publications in like complex analysis and stuff like that. But I was working on a PhD and
Hmm.
not really like so into it at a certain point. After like 6 years of being in the program, it was like starting to get old, and the advisors
Yeah.
just like weren't great, and I wasn't interested in the things they were working on. And then I learned about Bitcoin and blockchain, and I just decided like formal verification needs to be a huge part of this industry, and I know that I can make a contribution to that area, and so that's like sort of what I've been pursuing for the past 4 years.
Oh wow.
And like prior to that, I had done no programming whatsoever, and so just to say the type of person that I am, it's like I have done no programming, and I'm like I'm going to be a blockchain developer. So that's the type of person that
Hmm.
I am, and also I've done relatively little C++ programming or C programming, mostly just because I hate the language. But
Yeah.
that's besides the point. This OMNet++ stuff is super interesting, and like I said, I was sort of expecting it to be really boring because that's just what I expect from most things these days. But it was
Hmm.
so interesting, and I don't know if you've seen those videos by Dr. Joanne Skiles, but they're really good, and especially her overview of the OMNet++ is really really good, and it's it's in a lot of ways it's really similar to this formal specification language that I've used quite extensively in my career and just like, for fun. called TLA Plus, and
Mm-hmm.
this is developed by Microsoft and Leslie Lamport in particular.
Yeah.
Turing Award winner, whatever. He always has to say that, but yeah, TLA Plus is pretty interesting too. It's a similar idea, but at like a way higher, like more abstract level, where you're not even writing in like technically code. You're writing in just like logic, basically. Um, but
Mm-hmm.
it's super interesting, and if you're interested in that sort of stuff, I would highly recommend looking into it. I think it's a little bit more understandable than all of this like low level OMNet plus plus stuff. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, so they're these ideas are like very close to one another, which is always nice to see.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So either way, we can jump in wherever you are. I think I have a pretty good idea of what we're being asked to do, and quite frankly, from my understanding of what we're being asked to do, it is more trivial than the installation process. So hopefully
Mm-hmm.
that's how it will go, but who really knows?
Yeah.
Cool. So have you worked with this OMNet plus plus or this NED language or anything before?
It's the second time we work with it in class. The
Okay.
previous,
Yeah.
no.
Perfect.
It's the
So
class is not even an Omnet class. It's supposed to be VHDL and C, but for
okay.
some reason this assignment is part of it.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Cool. Well, I mean, if you want to share your screen, and then we can basically just work right off of your machine, so you have all the code that we're writing and everything. And
Before we start,
Mhm.
which did you install Omnet?
I did. Yeah. I got it working on Windows maybe like 20 minutes ago.
Mm-hmm. And which
Ran.
version? Is it the
It's
5.4 or the 6?
well, I did 6.01. Um,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. I you know
That's
I
the one I have.
yeah.
That's the one I have, but for some reason the code is not working.
Great. So wait, like when you did you run one of the samples? Like, I think in the video they just said, "Oh, run this Aloha sample or whatever."
The Aloha is working, but
Okay.
I tried to implement it myself,
Yeah.
like this assignment, and it's not working.
Oh,
And
okay.
I have no idea why.
Yeah, so I mean, there is actual code that's commented out, and I don't. Um, well, I don't know if you're looking at literally the same thing that I have, but for example, I saw this user weights, and that value is definitely used somewhere. So I don't know if this is like absolutely necessary that we need to uncomment that or anything, but
It
it's
came
possible.
uncommented like that from the
Hmm.
teacher, so he
Yep.
said
Yeah,
any
but also
uncommented
they
code.
gave us an invalid scheduling algorithm, so who knows if any of it is good.
Oh, yeah. I mean, yeah, that happens.
Yeah. So maybe let's just talk at a really high level first before we start jumping into any like specific code.
Sure.
Just with what we're supposed to do, right? So
Mm-hmm.
I'll tell you my understanding, and then you can say whether or not that agrees with your understanding. So basically, we have this scheduler and this queue thing, and what we
Mm-hmm.
need to do is essentially make sure that the scheduler, how do I want to say this? We want to make sure that the scheduler is only using like a maximum of this like number of channels packets each scheduling cycle,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so they're saying that they give us a hint, and they're basically saying like, oh, the scheduler can like set this value as a parameter and then pass that to the queue, and then the queue should like look at that
Give me just 1 second. My
value and
headphones are messing up.
yeah, sure.
Come on. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Yeah, can you hear me okay?
Yeah, now I can.
Okay. All right, perfect. Good. Now I don't hear myself too. That's much better. Um, all right. So basically, their suggestion or whatever they call it, a hint is, oh, we can use this like command message thing to set this parameter, like this is the maximum number of packets that you can put in one scheduling cycle, or the maximum number of packets that will take from the queue, and then basically the queue should look at this parameter and use that number or less packets essentially.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, that is more or less it as far as I can tell.
Yeah, I mean, your guess is as good as mine because this is the only explanation we got.
Okay.
They
Yeah.
do this, use this code, and yeah, no further explanation.
Yeah. It seems pretty open-ended, and literally they're just like implement any valid scheduling algorithm. Like, ah, cool, man. Thank you so much for telling me nothing.
Yeah,
Okay.
this university is really self-taught. I realized
Hmm.
that from first year.
Yeah, it probably makes you wonder, why would anybody pay money to self teach when you can just learn it on
Yeah,
your own for free, right? Whatever.
yeah.
Oh
I
my
mean,
gosh.
it's
I hope we
besides
move
a
away from this
diploma.
paying for education model. It's pretty
Yeah.
terrible in my opinion. All right. Yeah. So they gave us something very very open ended. I agree 100%. Um, and just let me ask one question. You said, well, I remember you saying, I remember you saying, and maybe I'm wrong, that the project is due today,
Sunday.
Sunday. Okay, great. At least it's not today.
But
Um,
yeah, the only
cool.
thing is it's due Sunday at 11:59 Europe time because that's where the class is. So I think that's 1:59 PST.
PM.
Uh, PM, I think. Because
That's
right
yeah.
now
That
it's
sounds about right. That sounds about right.
yeah.
Yeah, because what?
Right now it's 11:17 in Seattle, so it's 9. Yeah, it's 9 in Europe. So
Yeah.
2 hours almost. Yeah, it's one.
Okay,
It's
yeah. So yeah,
1:59.
CEST, right? And I know because of the wow, so confusing. Why is the world so confusing? Like because we changed our clocks back an hour. Now we're off from, the UTC time zone, but now we're what
Yeah,
like +6 or so. I am. You're +9, I think. But
I think +10.
yeah, whatever. Who cares?
Yeah.
This is all so
Yeah,
stupid.
yeah, yeah. It yeah, it makes no sense. But yep.
Unnecessarily confusing. Okay, cool. So yeah, it's not that it's due tomorrow midnight your time. It's due tomorrow midnight CEST time or something along those lines. Okay, cool. I'll keep
Yeah.
that in mind. All right. All right. All right. All right. Good. Got
So
that out of the way.
1:59 p.m. PST. That's the easiest way I can explain it.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Okay, great. And so for me, that would be 4:59. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
great. We have calibrated. Good. Okay, so maybe what you can tell me about is your level of familiarity with debugging in this goofy Omnet IDE environment.
0%.
Zero. Okay.
Because
All right.
yeah, we haven't debugged at all.
Okay.
They just
So
told
so
us to
then
use the code.
in your yeah. By the way, the formatting is super weird here. I
Again?
wonder. There
Let me
must
disconnect from
be.
my headphones. This is
Okay.
ridiculous.
Yeah. Yeah.
For some reason, I hear a whirring noise
Hmm.
and then no other sound besides that whirring noise. adjusting my
can
sound.
you hear me okay right now?
Yeah, now I can.
Okay. Okay, good. All right, cool. And I'm still not getting an echo, so that's also good news.
Hmm.
Okay. All right. So not very familiar with debugging. Okay.
No.
So then you said the first assignment was you did stuff with this on Ned and Ned language, right?
No, the first assignment was completely different.
Oh, okay, okay. Sorry, I misunderstood that. Okay, so this is like pretty brand new for you then.
Yes,
Okay.
completely new.
Yeah,
Like one
but you are familiar with like C++ coding, you said.
C coding, yeah, C++, not so much, but I'm guessing it's a extension of C.
Yeah, for sure. And it's I think don't quote me on this because I'm probably wrong. I think it's more of like using classes and like inheritance and
Yeah,
hierarchies and that sort of nonsense. Which is all garbage. You should not program that way, in my opinion. I think OO programming is horrible, and everybody should be a functional programmer. But I'm very opinionated about this stuff. But that's only because I care about correct code. Either way, doesn't matter. So okay, great. I'm getting a much better sense of like where you stand in relation to this particular assignment. Okay, so that's a good thing. So where would you like to start?
wherever I have to. I don't have
Yeah,
a.
I was hoping you would tell me. All right, so let's see. So basically,
So
yeah, I mean, yeah, go ahead.
yeah, what he wants us to turn in are I think the scheduler, the my
Yeah,
queue,
yeah.
and a picture of the output,
A picture of the output.
a
Output of
screenshot of the.
okay. Oh, okay. Like while you're doing the simulation.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, interesting. Why is okay? I don't understand the screenshot, but that's fine. I
I
mean,
don't either because it's almost impossible to screenshot moving signals,
I
but I'm gonna ask more.
I mean, maybe I don't remember what people usually use to like record their screen, but maybe even like a short video file is an upgrade from just taking a
Yeah,
screenshot
yeah.
of the simulation. But
The
okay.
Windows Alt and the R button. Yeah, is what I usually use.
Oh, all right. Yeah, I don't typically work on a Windows machine. I
Hmm.
happen to have one only because whatever this HP Spectre thing is, I was hoping to install Debian on it, which is a Linux distribution, but apparently they don't even allow you to modify the operating system on this computer, so it's basically a waste of
Oh,
money. But either
yeah.
way, it's now my dedicated Windows machine, and the good news is it was actually possible to install this on that stuff on this one. So I guess
Hmm.
it's good that I have it. Okay. Cool. So let's see. We should probably talk about some really basic stuff with respect to OmNet++ and Ned. Um, yeah, so maybe we should just talk about some of the stuff that's in this scheduler implementation file, or maybe we should even
Hmm.
look at the interface file first. Yeah. Okay. So maybe you can tell me this. What is that tilde in front of the second scheduler thingy
Hang on. Which
on
one?
line 30? Yeah, there's like this tilde in front of it. What does that even mean?
Oh, I don't know. This is just the code that the teacher gave us to modify.
Okay. Okay, I didn't know if it was like a C thing that I wasn't aware of or something, but
Oh yeah, he didn't really mention. He just said
mhm.
this is the code, modify it how I wanted it to, and
Oh my God.
yeah.
Sink or swim, huh?
Yep.
Wow.
Either pass or fail,
Get
basically.
out of here. Oh man. Um, okay. Well, fine. That's how they want to play this, I guess. All right, cool. So, I mean, basically, Oh yeah, and if you have not watched those, well, especially the overview of OmNet++ video by Dr. Joanne Skiles on YouTube, I highly,
Hmm.
highly recommend. It's really good to just like give you sort of a high level explanation of all the different pieces of this OmNet++ stuff.
Okay.
Um, but basically, um, we have this like hierarchy of oh gosh, I forget what they called them, modules or something like that, whatever word they use. We have these like components, and they use like some class inheritance to basically like nest them hierarchically. And then essentially the idea is like we have this notion of like simple components or modules, and we have this notion of like complex components or modules, and because they can be like nested in one another, a simple one is sort of like an atom or like a token. You know, if you think about like a lexer or a parser or something, the simple module is like this is the indivisible unit. Like you can't go, it's like a quark or something, you know, you can't go any further down than the simple modules. But the complex modules can just like have a bunch of modules inside of them. And one thing they said several times is like the network that we actually model is a priori a complex module, because it's always going to be composed of like a bunch of simple modules that are like interacting with one another, and that's essentially what we're simulating, right? I mean, basically we
Hmm.
have these like different components or processes or actors or like whatever you want to call them. Basically it's all the same stuff, and the only way that these things can like pass information about their state or whatever is like through message passing, right? So you have these links or channels or whatever, and basically we can and these are just like buffers or arrays or something, and we can essentially like load up these channels with messages, and essentially pass state information from one of these processes to another. Um,
Hmm.
that's basically the idea, which is why I say it's very similar to TLA plus, because essentially that's all we're ever trying to do in TLA plus is it's like for modeling distributed systems. It's just like with a little more emphasis on temporal properties and abstraction, but either way. So that's sort of the idea. So maybe I'll just stop here and just ask you what questions you have, if any.
Uh, I don't have any yet.
Okay,
I probably will in the while we do the coding and stuff. But
cool. Cool. All right. So tell me something about line 21 here. So what good is this namespace thing for me?
uh,
So
I
on line
guess it's for
21 we
this
say
one.
something. Yeah. So um,
I
because
guess it's to
no.
include omnet.ini or whatever that's stand for.
Yeah, what? Yeah, that's what I'm getting at. Is what in the world does it stand for? Let me look it up real quick. So using
Sure.
namespace, this is like probably just C++ stuff. Namespaces. Yeah, all right. Either way, so I think namespaces are a bad solution to a problem that has a much better solution. But
Hmm.
typically, in other languages, they'll use module systems, which will give you this same kind of notion as the namespace, which is essentially just like we don't want collisions of like variable names or type names or anything like that, and so this namespace stuff allows us to prevent these like collisions. Okay, whatever. Uh, cool. And so, what are we defining here? So on line 26, we start defining this scheduler class, right?
Hmm.
So how familiar are you with like the notion of a class and object?
So, basic, almost beginner because that's one of the classes that I failed. Java.
Hmm. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So this is like you were just implying. Like this is very similar to the notion of class and object in Java.
Mm-hmm.
And what I can say is like at a really high level, and of course it's more complicated than what I'm going to say. I'm just trying to say like as simple as possible. Classes are basically templates. A class essentially defines in some way like a generic behavior for an object. And then we have like this notion of constructors and all of this stuff, which is essentially what they're doing on line 29 and 30. When we say like the name of the class, like scheduler, and then the parentheses, this is like the constructor takes no arguments, but
Mm-hmm.
scheduler with the parentheses, I don't know if typically need the new keyword or something, but either way, this is like we're going to instantiate the class with like actual values and make it into an object, which is like actual executable stuff. Um, so, and very similarly, this class will do the same thing here. Uh, Yeah, and then like I said, basically the class is sort of like a specification or like a template or like a generic description, and then the object is like some executable thing, some concrete thing that behaves in the way that the class definition specifies. If that makes any sense.
Yeah.
Cool. Um, all right. So, what about this public, private, protected stuff? Can you tell me anything about that?
To me, I think those are variables and function declarations.
Yeah, they're like visibility declarations in the sense that like they're like defining the visibility of like fields and methods, right?
Yeah.
Uh, so if you say public, like any client should be able to call these methods. So I think what we're saying here with like the line 20, starting at 28 and 29, 30 is basically like
Mm-hmm.
here are the constructors for this scheduler class. Basically, it takes no arguments. I don't know what the tilde thing is, but we'll figure that out in a second. When we say that a method has private visibility, typically what we mean is only this class can call these methods or fields or whatever. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so even if I have like a class that inherits from scheduler, it will not be able to call private stuff. It will be able to call protected stuff, but it won't be able to call private stuff. That's typically how it works.
Hmm. Based on
Um,
what you said, that made me think of the tilde.
oh yeah, okay. So you maybe know what that is.
I don't know what it is, but because I saw something in other class, and if they're private,
Yeah.
how are they being used?
Yeah. So we'll use it in our implementation of the scheduler class. So like here, we're defining some like handle message thingy in the scheduler class, and basically handle message we'll be able when we're implementing this handle message method, we'll be able to use any of those private methods, no problem. We're inside the scheduler class, so we can do that. um, However, if I have some other class that somehow references scheduler, I'll never be able to call any of those private methods on scheduler
Mm-hmm.
from this other class, right? Only from the scheduler class can I do it. And basically it just gives you guarantees about like what possible clients of the class can do.
Okay.
Okay. And then similarly, protected is like the same idea as private, but not so strict. So private is like literally nowhere else can you ever call these methods or get access to these fields, only from within the scheduler class. Protected is a little bit more relaxed. So we can access these methods or fields or whatever in the scheduler class, sure. But also we can access those methods and fields in classes that inherit from scheduler.
Mm-hmm. Is this almost like the package protected from Java?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, and so I'm more familiar with Scala, so I'm just going based off of what these keywords mean in Scala. But typically they try to at least be consistent with this sort of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then the only other thing I think probably is necessary to talk about here is this virtual keyword. Um, and so virtual keyword, the virtual is basically just saying like I'm not going to tell you the implementation right now. I am just going to very abstractly tell you the types, right? And so what it says about initialize is, well, two things. It says initialize takes no arguments, right? So that's what it means to just like have the parentheses following it. So initialize takes no arguments. But also it tells us that the return type of initialize is void, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and that is pretty much it. I mean, it just basically tells me that it takes no arguments and it returns a void. Similarly, with handle message, it tells me that it takes one of these C message things and returns a void.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. So maybe question for you: what is void?
It doesn't return anything.
Yeah, exactly. So like we
Or
have
returning statement. Yeah.
yeah. So we have like statements and expressions in C, C++, because it's terrible. But no, in all honesty, because it's a procedural language, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we have this notion of like I can just like list out a bunch of instructions and or rather not instructions but statements. I can list a bunch of statements, and statements are these things that like don't have any explicit return value. And the best way to think about that is like they can do side effecty stuff, but they don't give me values in the end. Um,
Mm-hmm.
However, like if I return int, that's something that I have to like explicitly say, like return keyword, like whatever the int is in these sorts of languages. Not true in all, but in this it is. Okay, cool. So basically, the scheduler thing is sort of like an abstract class in some sense because we don't actually give the implementation of initialize or handle message here.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool. All right. And so the only other thing probably that's important to talk about here is this C message type. So first question is, do you know what they mean by C message?
Um, let me see it. No. I
Yeah.
thought I
All
would
right.
know coding, but no.
Yeah. Yeah, so like for example, they're on line 38, they do this new C message of self message. So they're
Mm-hmm.
they're constructing an object from a class. So apparently C message is a class. Is there a way to like do control and like click on C message to go to the implementation or something? Yeah. Oh, that's friggin' useless to me. Okay. Where is this? Oh, it's in C message. Well, that's great, huh? So let's see what they got going on here. I mean, basically, what it looks like to me at first glance is some kind of message class that's probably defined somewhere in like this OMNet, one of these OMNet libraries. Um, but the idea is like anytime we want, well, I think the idea is that anytime we want to pass a message, we have to do it with one of these C message.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I think I remember what the squiggly is. So they're saying destructor, right? Um,
Oh,
So in
heard about
C,
that.
you have to do manual memory management, right? So if you want to like forget about some memory in the heap or whatever, like you have to explicitly say, drop or whatever the function is. This squiggly thing, gosh, I think
Matilda.
it's yeah, exactly. The tilde is like some like pattern that basically does this dropping of the memory that's associated with this scheduler class.
Okay.
Yeah.
The funny thing is, he doesn't want us. He doesn't care if we know omelet or not. He just wants
Yeah.
the word.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that seems consistent with all of the information that was provided.
Yeah, that's basically the entire university. They don't care
Okay.
about us learning. They just care
Wow.
about us doing the work. I think they lost
Wow.
interest as well because of
What
the pandemic.
where is the university based, if you don't mind me asking?
In Eastern Europe, Romania,
Oh, okay. Yeah, okay. Interesting.
because of the pandemic, because
Yeah.
I started in 2016 and then
Mhm.
I interrupted my studies for 2
Mm.
years.
Mhm.
In the beginning, they were like, "I wanna teach you, I want you to know I care about your learning."
Yeah.
But after COVID, once it was
Mm.
online,
Mm.
why am I even doing this anymore? And that's began to rub off on the students because I noticed first years and second years, they don't know jack.
Yeah, yeah. Man, that's really unfortunate. I'm very sorry that that has been your experience. And quite frankly, I experienced something similar, but on the other side in a way, because right at the beginning of the pandemic, I lost the job that I was working with because like the funding just became so
Oh,
uncertain that I was like, I need to do something else now.
yeah.
Um, and basically, I went to Wyzant to tutor, just thinking like, oh, this will be like something that I do temporarily. But because
Mhm.
of the timing with the pandemic and everything moving online, there were just so many people that needed help that it ended up being like a full time job for me, basically. Um,
Yeah,
yeah. Yeah. So yeah, I
because
have
I don't
heard
think
some
universities
horror stories.
yeah,
Yep.
I don't think universities know how to teach anymore without being on Zoom.
Yeah, I don't have an explanation for that, but that is also kind of consistent with what I'm seeing too.
Mhm.
And it's a little bit bittersweet for me because like I feel for you guys. Like I've been there. I know that it's difficult, and there wasn't a pandemic that interrupted my studies, so like
Yeah.
that, and even still it was difficult. But I can't even like imagine now how difficult things are. And it's bittersweet because, well, that also means that there's tons of people that need help, and I get to learn really really interesting stuff like this. So
Mm,
uh,
yeah.
cool. um, okay, great. So basically, I think the next thing that we should talk about is how these different processes within OMNet are going to pass messages to one another.
Mhm.
Yeah, so let's maybe jump, yeah, let's go to the implementation thing, and I think there was some message passing here. Yeah, so here we go. So for example, these arrows are doing some message passing for us. Uh, but actually, I'm not so sure how they're using it as like a Boolean thing. And maybe I'm mistaking it with a different operator, but let me get the code up on my side too, so I can
Sure.
jump around and
It's
look
gonna
at the
be different
things.
than the code that I gave you because I had some help from my friends
Okay.
that assignment. So
Yeah,
it might
yeah. Okay. No problem. So let's see. Gosh, I wish they would have gave you a linter too, because this. code formatting is just so crusty, man. I hate it.
Uh,
Oh, I feel like this is what it was like building software back in the friggin' early 90s or something, you know?
yeah, before they
Uh,
knew how to invent.
yeah, exactly. Before we learned from all of our egregious mistakes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just don't know why people continue to do things like this these days. Uh, okay, so you said you're not so familiar with this the NED language, right?
No, I don't think any of us are.
Oh, okay. So maybe at a high level, I can sort of well describe my current understanding of what this NED language does for us. Um, Basically, so NED is like an acronym, right? And it's for like network description language.
Hmm.
But basically, what it allows us to do is essentially write a specification for uh, excuse me the network topology that we're going to use. So like in these networking scenarios, and at any point stop me if this is like totally obvious what I'm saying, and if it's not, then I'll just keep talking. um,
Hmm.
so when we are defining a network, and by a network I mean I have a bunch of processes that have the ability to store local state and do computations and stuff. Um, the way that they communicate about their state is through message passing, right? And basically, for me to pass, okay, I'll always say like me and you, but really I just mean like
Yeah,
modules in the
I
network
get
or
it.
processes or whatever. So for me to pass a message to you, we need to have a channel that goes between us, right? And every channel is going to have like an in and out link. Uh,
Hmm.
but basically, the idea is like the existence of that channel between the two of us, which gives us the ability to communicate directly via message passing. This is something that we describe in the network topology, right? So the network topology is like who all is connected to who else, right? So maybe like super, super simple. Maybe we have two processes and there's a link between the two processes, right? I just described the network topology. It's like a complete graph on two nodes. Um, okay. All right. What questions do you have about that, if any?
I don't.
Okay. All right. Very good.
Because you're basically teaching me from the start.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. Perfect. Perfect. Well, I mean, this is typically, quite frankly, I think this is all I'm capable of.
Hmm.
uh, I have to build it up from the ground in my own head too. So that's sort of how we're going here. Okay, so this NED language is about describing these different modules that are like present in the OMNet thing. Um, so the NED language is basically how we build up these components and the links between them.
Hmm.
Okay, cool. So, fine. Uh, let's see. I think I need to look at some of this stuff. Yeah, so they just have all these like auto-generated modules, and maybe let's just take a look at one of these, NED files on your end, so we can talk a little bit about it.
Mm. Oh, these. He said we
Yes.
don't have to work with these.
Oh, really? Okay. So we don't have to do anything with NED files. Good to know.
But this was my where my error came in. So I don't know.
What do you mean? This is where your error came in?
The when I was working with it with my friends, it had an
Yeah.
error message with the radio SCH. So it
Oh,
was compiling. There were no errors in the code, but it was an I can actually show you.
yeah, yeah. Please do.
Does this, but
Mhm.
then
Cannot assign parameter gate size. This has no parameter name. Users count. Okay. Yeah, so let's check out radio sch.net line 27, I guess. Might as well.
And what they said, which made absolutely no sense, as you also said,
That
they
sounds
said
right.
that for Omnet 5.4.2, it wouldn't show up this error. But my
Stop it.
system is not letting me download it
Oh,
because it's
God.
out of date. What's it called?
Oh, wait a second. I remember they were talking about this in the video, and oh no, I don't remember what the distinction was. There was like some breaking change that happened in
Yeah,
between two of these versions, and I forget what it was
maybe it was this
before.
one.
Yeah, it might be. Yeah, dang it, I just don't
It
remember
won't let me,
specifically what that
no matter
was.
how hard I try, it's not letting me download it. So I can get
Okay.
it up to the installation, but it's not installing correctly. So there's
Yeah.
no way for me to use it
Okay.
unless
Okay.
I
Yeah,
mean I don't
interesting.
have an older machine.
It's not a like specific requirement of the project to use any particular version, right? Like you can presumably you
No,
could
but
use the first version if you wanted to.
I think so. But the computers at school use the 5.4, but
Okay. Okay.
they paid for the license, so
Of
I'm not
course.
paying
No, no, no,
millions.
no. Nor should we. Yeah, nor should we.
I just don't know how to
Uh,
fix it and then comment in the
I hear you.
submission that I use 6.0.1 because it's not letting me use 5.4
Right.
and just yeah.
Yikes.
I'm just
Okay.
gonna take a screenshot of this.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Yeah, just so we don't have to run it again to see it. La, la,
Yeah.
la. All right. So I'm looking at this. I'm looking at this radio schedule network thing. The NED file. If you want to go there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, interesting. Cool. So they have some nice like visualization tools, which is always great. But
hmm
maybe can we look at the source code for this radioscheduler.net?
I'm guessing it's
Yeah. I'm not currently using this Omnet IDE. I just have it open in Visual Studio Code
Oh,
because
okay.
I hate Eclipse. Hate Eclipse to the core. Um, oh, and actually, now that I'm looking at this, I see that the message passing operator is actually a tiny bit different than I thought. It's not it's not a single hyphen and then greater than for the arrow. It's two hyphens and then the greater than. My goodness. But either way, I mean, it's the same idea. This is our like uh, function, if you will, to pass the message.
hmm
Okay. Either way. Oh, this is disgusting. Okay, but basically, line 27. Oh, and now it's probably a little bit different on my machine because I made it more readable. It's basically pointing to this scheduler thing.
This one.
If in well in radioschedule.net, but I guess somehow we need to look at the source code, which I'm
Whoa, go back.
on. I'm honestly not sure how to. Oh, here we go. Here we go. Oh wait, no, that's does
Oh,
it?
okay.
Don't tell me that it only allows you to see it this way. This is horrible.
Uh,
Oh my god.
yeah,
Is there
unfortunately.
some kind of here? Let me mess around with it on my computer for 1 second. I'll see if I can figure out how to
Okay.
make that do what we want.
I do have a question.
Yeah.
So our time is up in about 6 minutes, unless you have more time. If you don't, when would you be available today?
Yeah, if you'd like to continue working now, I
Hmm.
can for like another hour. I tried to leave a little bit of space on the end in between things just because it's very hard for me to anticipate how long some of these things will take, especially because you and I have never met. So there's always
Yeah,
like some time required for me to understand exactly where you are and then kind of go from there.
right.
So that is a possibility. We can meet for another hour and 5 minutes.
Hmm.
And then in terms of more availability today after that fact, I think I will be. Let me just double check to make sure. I think I'll be available again at your 4 p.m. Uh,
Okay.
yeah, that's pretty much it. So
I
I'd be
mean,
available, yeah, again at 4 p.m. basically.
do you think we can finish in the next hour?
Uh, finish in the next hour? Probably not. But do I think that we could really have a great understanding of what's going on in the next hour? Totally. But actually, you know
Mhm.
what? I think maybe what would be a good idea is so I think this was a really good thing for us to meet and sort of get on the same page. Like now I know exactly how to approach helping you.
Mhm.
And so my suggestion would be maybe we'll stop in like the next few minutes, and then
Okay.
in the meantime, I'll actually figure out how to do the coding that's required. And then if you
Okay.
want to meet again at 4, then we can actually start writing the code.
Say for I don't know how I hope I don't have anything at 4, but if I
Okay.
do, would you be available later?
Yeah, so I would say that I'm willing to work until your 7 p.m. But that's as late
Okay.
as I would like to work.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So
Let's
how
keep
to
4. Let's
yeah.
keep 4 for right now, and I'll
Okay.
message you if something happens. Hopefully, nothing
Yeah.
does.
Okay.
But
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, that sounds good. Okay.
Um,
Cool. Yeah, I think that'll work. And like I said, in the meantime, I'll continue digging into this stuff. What I suggest for you to do in the meantime is, at the very least, to go check out the overview of OMNAT++
videos.
video from Dr. Joanne Skiles. Yeah, they're very, very good.
Just to be on the same page, it should
Yep.
be this one.
Yeah, that's the whole playlist, and you don't necessarily have to watch all of those, and I don't know even how like particularly relevant they all are, but
That
so yeah,
should
I would scroll down. It's like this overview of OMNet++.
this one.
That is like, yeah, so good. Watch that one, and then from there, obviously you can look at some others, but I think this one is like absolutely you should watch.
Okay.
Okay. All right, cool. So yeah, we'll meet back up at your 4 p.m. and yeah, we'll just start coding at that point.
Awesome. Thank you so
Okay.
much.
You are very welcome. All right, it's
See you in
nice
a
to
bit.
meet you. All right,
You too.
bye bye.
Bye bye.